Let me know if you're gonna decide to come on freaking cam. All Konnichiwa minasan. This is Jay Takashi, and like I said today, we're proud to introduce you to the RBNI stream. Not stream, more show the review of it, and today the freaking host tonight is Wally, my man's, and I am co-host tonight, which means, like I said, we're going to be Iron Man, Captain America, this shit today, and basically we're going to be talking about the series Kamen Rider Dragon Knight. Now for all of you who may have not seen the series, it is a Sentai series in Japan, and this is like one of the many ones that got transferred over that we were able to get a congested English version of it, Americanized version of it. All in all, me and Wally will have notes, but more often than not, Wally will be giving you his take on it, and also I will be adding to the conversation, quote unquote, discussion of the review of it. Like I said, we're gonna be going detailed into it, and also we're talking our likes, dislikes, the characters, and the plot and story. But all in all, guys, you know how we do here. We're gonna get into the intro first, and then we're gonna, like I said, then we're gonna get right into the review and get it popping. So you know how we do over here. I'm gonna count from 5 to 1 in Japanese, and then after that we'll get into the intro, and then, like I said, we're going to get this started. So I've reiterated for you twice. There's no reason for me to do it a damn third time. That's it, because I hate repeating myself. But all in all, and go, Yon, San, Ni, Ichi, Zero. Let's go.
Rello woman.
All right. Make sure I can hear us.
Yeah, Vermont, I thought you might.
Okay, Wally. So where would you like to start first?
Well, first thing off, welcome everybody to the show. As you know, I call my show the RBI, which is basically review, breakdown, and influence. And we're going to talk about Kamen Rider Dragon Knight, what Jay just said. And one of the many few things that I came to this was the shocking factor that I did not know that this show existed. Like, literally, looking it up, looking at the debut of it, I'm shocked that I did not see the show. Because literally, I be through CW all the time, watching shows. So the fact that I did not notice this show even existed was sort of a sham to me. But nonetheless, never late, right? I enjoyed the show, theoretically, just enjoyed the aesthetics of it. And personally, it gave me that Power Ranger vibe, but with a different sentiment as much as Power Ranger has style. For me, looking at just the weaponry, the looks, and the style of the suits, it was perfect to the tonery of just exactly like what Power Rangers would do. The only difference is to what Power Rangers do is they didn't have the big Megazords and all that, but it did have the aesthetics of the animals that they represented, which was fantastically great. Like, literally, it was by far great. But, from the standpoint of what Jay already mentioned, right, this show was basically adopted from the Japanese version, which was Kamen Rider Ryuki, if I'm not mistaken, or Ryuki.
Ryuki. No, about Ryuki. Ryuki.
Yeah, okay, Ryuki. Yeah, okay, yeah, Ryuki.
Yeah, because it's called Kamen Rider Ryuki.
Yeah, right. Kamen Rider. Yeah, Kamen Rider Ryuki. So, looking up Ryuki, right, is basically a male name, right? But it also has a meaning behind it. The meaning, of course, which is dragon, which is why the English version is called Dragon Knight, right? It has imperial, life, genuine, birth, noble, prosperous, and flow. Which, if you actually look very close at a dragon, it practically has this characteristics, and so did the person. The person that actually wore the suit. And the person I'm talking to you about is the person we follow in this adventure, which is called Kit Taylor. He is the person from Earth that adopts the Dragon Knight suit and armor in Earth realm, and we follow him on his journey as you'll see towards the beginning of the show. He has a troubling time in his life because the loss and abandonment of his father, and he's constantly getting in trouble for weird and mysterious reasons that he did not do. And eventually, down the line, when the show goes in, he eventually realized, he's meant to do something greater. But one thing for sure, if you actually look at the show from the very jump, right, the very show starts with some action. And the first piece of action were these monsters coming through the mirror, any mirror reflection, and constantly abducting humans. And what they was gonna do was abduct a woman that was in a parking area zone, right? That was going to her car, and they were slowly by abduct her. The moment they took her into the mirror is the moment the unknown warrior, aka I call Bat Knight, I don't know what's his actual name, Kamen Rider name, but I call him Bat Knight for the time being, right? Which is also that we find out, which is called Lens, which is his the mirror world version, the mirror world warrior of their universe, right?
Len, yeah.
He comes in there and basically saves the woman and kicks alien butt. And then that moves on, constantly trying to find these monsters and constantly trying to stop the great General Xaviax, which is the villain of this whole pilot. So that's the first piece of a little bit of the first country of what you get from the first episode of the show. Jay, you want to add anything?
Yeah, so in case you didn't know what he meant, which I think he was very thorough and said it. So Wing Knight, aka Lin, is from Vintara, which is the other side of the world, the mirror world, basically. It's an entire different world from the other side of the mirrors, and it's the opposite of the Earth world. So no need to go in detail with that. I think that's pretty self-explanatory, and like his character introduction is probably one of the best ones. Like, he's a cool hardcore badass, but he's a soldier.
Right.
The thing is, and his I think going a little bit into it. I think his struggle is knowing to be a leader when he never wanted to be one, because he trained, like I said, he trains aka Kid Taylor, pretty much, to be the next Dragon Knight more often than not. He told him, learn the cards, master them, and you'll get used to them. He said study them, kind of like a project. And the thing is, he said he's no leader and things like that, but he can be. The thing is, like I said, I think that's his self-reflection, but also he deals with a lot of stuff in the series. So, like I said, both him, Kit, I think they are the stars of the show personally, and they do shine through the series. Kit is the biggest anomaly character to me specifically, but done pretty well because of what he grows into. Right. He actually grows up.
Right. So to add on to what Jay
Wally, go ahead.
Yeah. So to add on to what Jay was talking about, right? So what is it really basically being a Kamen Rider? So technically, in the world of Vintara, which is the mirror world reflection of Earth, right? Bat Knight, aka Lance, and other Kamen Riders were basically army warriors of that world, and through that training, they obtained the Kamen Rider Abendek and the battle suit, right? And So they were trained to defend Ventura against General Xaviax because of the fact that he was trying to eliminate other alien worlds for their survival. And sadly enough, the general working under Xaviax didn't want to be with that plan after dealing with the aliens, where he was saved by them, and in that he had to turn apart and wanted to save them versus destroy them. So he battled against Xaviax, created the Avindex in the battle suit to fight against Xaviax and stop him from his evil plan. Now, how did this transpire to Earth, you say? Well, here's the interesting play. Well, there's a little secret, but I'm not going to expose it now. That's actually later down in the series, but we're going to get to that part. But in this series, you will see Xaviax constantly form himself as a human, constantly looking for warriors. And he is constantly going out there looking for new warriors, using the same Avindex these warriors in the mirror world would use to battle them. Now, your question is, how does he have the Avindex that the warriors in the other world would have? Well, that's going to get into it. We're going to get into that, how he got to that point. But for right now, I want you to know this about Kit Taylor, right? Like what Jay said, he is the anomaly of this whole show based upon the simple fact that A, he becomes Dragonite, and B, he gets a special bonus later down in the series. His story becomes very, very interesting. Yeah. And as you know, right, he constantly keeps getting these visions of his father, constantly telling him to have faith within the dragon, fuse with the dragon, be one with the dragon. And to be honest, as time goes on, he constantly gets this vision. So eventually he decided to, constantly, he eventually, he keeps, following these visions and constantly thinking about it. And eventually at this point in time, he decided to be one. He decided to be the Kamen Rider, right? He absorbed the dragon, he fused with it, and then he got the full-on suit. Now, before all this happens, right, in the same first episode, you would actually see him actually get the suit once he joined the mirror world, right? Because he accidentally falled in and joined the battle where Lance was actually trying to battle one of the alien.
Yeah, one of those creatures. They specifically don't have a.
They do have an image, but you can't really tell all of them what image they have. But
yeah, they take on the form of like any type of creature that he can conjure up. They don't really specifically have a name for him.
Right,
especially in English version, it's pretty wild.
I mean, when you look at them, some of them you can look at them and be like, okay, yeah, that's a shark, and there's an octopus.
That's a zebra, or a horse, or a ram, or some kind of.
Right. They got some animals in there, but one thing's for sure is once you go into so when Kit falls into the mirror, right? Because he was shocked by how they can literally face the mirror.
Hello, Susan.
He ended up falling within the mirror and eventually got the battle suit. But the problem with that battle suit was it was a training battle suit. And how do you know it was training? Because he foolishly summoned a sword with one of the Avindex cards and literally started to attack, knowing he had no real training whatsoever. And plus, those swords were literally bottom line trash in weaponry because he hasn't fully, fused with the dragon. Mm-hmm. So when it was all said and done, eventually he fused with the dragon once he saw the dragon again, because the dragon first found him and started to attack and started to run. And he started to run because he did not know if the dragon was good or bad, right? For him to even take up or even consider confused. But after some long time during the first or second episode, he chosen to fuse with the dragon and bond with it and fully got the dragon. Now, Lance, on the other hand, did not want that to happen, though. Now, why you would say? Well, once again, that goes to another deeper rabbit hole itself too, as well. But we'll get to that. But for the time being, let's look at who's in the the chat. Thank you, Sue, for coming through.
Hello, Susan. Yeah. Okay. I actually want to respond to this. Susan, you're asking me when I'll be in Japan. Like I said, I'll try to make that if I can. I know I said yes to it. That's because I don't know when else alive for Simple Gear concert was going to be, because I actually want to go to one of those. And I'm a huge Simple Gear fanboy, so I definitely want to see Ikeano and You get like I want to see all of them. But I am coming to Japan. That is happening. And it is going to be strictly for a visit, but be down there for at least 3 months. That's actually the goal, to be down there for 3 months on my first visit. So like I said, just I will tell you, if I do happen to catch it when I get down there in November, or if I don't catch it, keep me informed of any other concerts they may have, because I'll definitely go to it. I need to go to theirs because, like I said, I'm a fan of those. Like I said, I'm a fan of those singers, and I'm a fan of the series of Sympho Gear. So definitely tell me. Let me see. So my man, okay. So Jerron.
What's going on, Jerron?
Patton, what's up, man? Yeah. Wing Knight is awesome. I agree with you.
Oh, Wing Knight. Okay.
Yeah. I mean, that's his Kamen Rider name. He goes.
Okay, Wing Knight.
And then becomes Wing Knight.
Okay.
And yeah. And Jill, she said.
I thought it was Wing Knight. Oh, okay. See, okay.
It is Wing Knight. It's not
Wing Knight.
Wing Knight.
Yeah, Wing Knight. It's supposed to be Wing Knight. Okay, see.
Wing Knight. Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't think it's Wing Knight. I think Wing Knight because I keep hearing Wing Knight.
Yeah, it was Wing because
Wing Knight.
Yeah.
Yeah.
For those that don't know, let me clarify. When I say Bat Knight, his original name is supposed to be Wing Knight, and his animal Avendeck is the bat.
Yeah.
Whereas
I can say like
Taylor's Avendeck animal is the dragon.
Yeah. Right. He does have a dope design still, with or without the cape.
And I'm saying right now, when you see the bat and the dragon and other Avendeck animals, I'm telling you right now, when I say it gives you Power Ranger vibes, it truly gives you Power Ranger vibes. It really does.
Ryuki.
And plus, it doesn't have to be vibes of the actual animals forming together, but it gives you that vibe in a sense of just being able to literally see them in action with the character itself. No, literally, it is Wing Knight, not Wing Knight.
Are you sure? Hold on, John. I'm pretty sure it's Wing Knight, but like, unless that must be the Japanese version. Wing Knight? Then that would be Kaze Kishi. Kishi stands for night in Japanese.
I'm pretty sure it's Wing Knight.
Kaze is wind. Hold on.
Because the English version is just.
Trust me, I know the names. It's just hold on.
Yeah, you go check it out.
I'm double checking this. Let's see.
Yeah.
I don't know. Maybe he might refer to the Japanese version. So hold on. It literally, guess what comes up? Wing Knight. Wing Knight. That's what comes up.
Wing Knight, right?
It says Kamen Rider Wing Knight. Yup.
Okay, there it is.
Yeah, it says Wing Knight. Yeah.
Okay, that's what I thought. I'm pretty sure it was Wing Knight. But let's keep going on, right? So to add on a little bit more contrary to the show, towards the beginning, they also came across a young lady reporter called, if I'm not mistaken, I forgot the lady's name, but right? But they come across her, right? And she's an avid help to both of them during the show. So Wing Knight, aka Lance, he ends up breaking her camera because he didn't want her having infiltrating intel of what happened in the scenery. Of course, she was a little bit mad because of the fact that her camera got broken, and he moved on. So, but interesting enough, it was all, water under the bridge because she wanted to help the cause and help with, the identification of where are these humans that are constantly disappearing from Earth or just out of sight, and where are they being held? Now, funny enough, later down in the episodes, you end up finding out that these humans that were so-called happened to have an issue, they end up finding them in a hospital, but in a separate section, because they could not figure out what was going on with them and why they wasn't responding, even if they had life. Funny enough, Kent Taylor, he's been looking for his father, and he ended up finding him there. But just to drag back some memory down the line. But more warriors constantly come through this series, right? And in most cases, it's usually just Kit and Lance fighting all of the other Kamen Riders that are now on Earth. Why? Because funny enough, here's the extra add-in of what the admin deck is really all about. So the admin deck users can only be the carbon copy of the Earth image. So meaning the Kamen Riders that you would see in Ventara can only be given to the Kamen Riders of Earth that are the same image. So the same people that you will see on Earth, they're actually the same person on the other flip side of the mirror world, and they cannot be changed. Now, lucky enough for General Xaviax, he's able to scout these people and constantly bring them into more trouble and more issues to make them join his forces to help them get out of their issues that literally he put them into, because they never really had issues at all. They were really good people. They were really probably decent people, but he made them have issues inclined to their everyday life, which then forced them to join this team. Luckily enough, there's only one person out of the whole group that actually was okay with joining Xaviax, and that was Kamen Rider. Now, I don't want to say Kamen Rider Cobra, because I know that's not his name.
Strike.
Yeah, Kamen Rider Strike. But his animal was the Cobra, right? He was purple. He was color purple, but yeah, his Kamen Rider animal was the Cobra. And trust me, this one, he was good. He was skilled. He was one of Xaviax's top warriors. He comes literally mid-range into the show, but he really takes action late into the episodes of the series. And trust me, you do not want to get hit by this guy. This guy is venomous. And I don't mean to pun. I mean, literally, he is venomous. You sleep on him, he will end you.
And to touch up on more further for that, like I said, a good job on addressing Kit and Lynn. But he has a name in the world called JTC, and JTC was literally a guy who was always looking for the truth, and he got caught. He actually got caught, and did prison. And Xaviax went out his way to free him. And he was actually secretly not corroborating, but he was secretly trying to find out what Maya knew about, like, quote unquote, these soldiers and things like that. But also, which hence why he pushed her to Maya. Maya, that's her name. She, like I said, he literally pushed her to literally go out there and find out more of the riders. Hence why he specifically told her about one. So he had a reputation. And the thing is, he was seen as some a hacker's role model. This was Trent. Trent lived up to JTZ, one of his idols, role models. And the surprise backstab that comes with it is that he's actually working for Xaviax, and it was a surprise to them, which personally hurt Mia, because she's always striving to know what the truth is, get information out, and let people know about things. That's what makes her such a lovable character. For a support character, she's one of the best probably I've seen, and pretty cute too, by the way. I'll tell you that.
Right.
He's really cute.
Now, funny enough, the Kamen Rider Strike, he actually played her though in the long run of that, and it sort of complicated her. And as I already told you, right, these Kamen Riders that are having the suits and the cards are carbon copies of what they look like in Ventara. So when that time came into play in the later episodes, she was sort of freaked out and a little bit hesitant around the real one when she had seen them, knowing that he is not of the Earth version. And it was really complicated to be around her all the time, because every single time he be around her or give her a compliment or even put a handshake or anything, she was always defensive. And I get it because of what the Earth person did. So, but as we all know,
when the Ventara guy came in, and he's a much extra action person. He's a warrior. So
right. But eventually that all got settled, and it all came crashing down, and it all came mutual.
Anything else you want to talk about?
Yeah. I'm gonna get down to it. But so let's get to the crux of it, right? Let's get to the crux of it. So as time goes down and time goes up, right? Xaviax is constantly forming these warriors, constantly picking them, constantly getting to them every single time, constantly making their warriors and everything else, and convincing them to be these warriors and join him, right? Now, funny enough, almost every single Kamen Rider that ever joined Xaviax was literally defeated and invented, except for one. Now, the exception of one was able to be convinced that Xaviax was a bad guy and to join both Kent and Lance. But the only issue is this guy was of sickness and illness. And sadly enough, as much as he wanted to keep on fighting, he was losing through his sickness because every single time he it's constantly, crushes down his body and his work ethic. Lucky enough, this I don't remember the Kamen Rider warrior name, but he had
Kamen Rider Sting.
Kamen Rider Sting. So he had the animal, the stingray, right?
Mm-hmm.
And
that stingray.
He was, surprisingly enough, he was actually an army warrior, right? Just like Lance. So he understood the code of being the warrior, protecting everything. Sad enough, he could not serve his country because of his illness, and he had a long bloodline lineage of his family all in the army. But because of his illness, he could not join. Xaviax gave him, surprisingly enough, Xaviax didn't have to convince him in a bad way to join. He actually convinced him in a decent way. And he showed him how he can serve his country, even though at the risk of his own illness. And luckily enough, it was on point. We're gonna get to those two guys.
We'll get to those guys. But I do want to talk about this. That Wally noticed, when Xaviax approaches the riders and stuff, he actually is, I'll be honest, he's probably the best con artist.
Yes.
Smooth talking con artist. I would say smooth talking to some of them. And he's probably the biggest manipulator / flexer.
Yes, he has very strong persuasion. He literally convinces you.
All these dudes to freaking work for them, literally.
Now, some of them had it nicer. Others just had it he just played it right into their livelihoods. And others, he just convinced them to do. He just changed their whole lives and make them look like ish. In reality, it was actually probably better than it was.
Mm-hmm.
It's sad.
Yep.
Now, I'll say, to add on to this, in most cases, out of the two that I'm talking about, that we're talking about sad, so Kamen Rider, I probably get this wrong name, but Kamen Rider Rhino, well, he's the Rhino of this.
Kamen Rider Thrust.
Okay, right. Kamen Rider Thrust, right? So Kamen Rider Thrust was animal Kamen Rider of the Rhino, right? And lucky enough, you see him mid-range of the episode. But lucky enough for him, he's a warrior that's only out to defeat Wing Knight to get him out of the way.
I do want to correct a few things.
Yeah.
Pretty much, what's his name? Xaviax set him up. When he was he's actually a professional motocross racer,
right?
And he got set up to think that he would sabotage his brother's bike or his friend's bike,
right?
And what's his name? Xaviax forged it and turned himself into him and made him think that he messed up his bike.
Right.
And she was actually innocent, but you know how it is.
Right, exactly.
It's the Winter Soldier shit.
He basically changed the scenario around.
Yeah, exactly.
He was a villain when in reality he didn't do nothing. And it was crushing his mind and it's crushing his reality a little bit to a point where he had a final showdown with Wing Knight, but sadly defeated like the rest.
Right.
But he had really no skin in this. He was just a soldier, just following orders.
I wouldn't say he was a soldier. I think he
wasn't a soldier, but he was just
he was a pawn
following orders. But that was just moving. That was just doing the work.
Say what? No, repeat again.
I said he was just a strong pawn, just doing the work.
There we go. Yeah, because like I said, some of them are not trained in it or anything, and some of them just kind of go with the flow. Because not all of them are like fighters, like Lin. Even Kid wasn't one. Kid is he was the worst fighter at the start of the series. He was way worse.
You're right, but in most cases, there's a reason why I say he was a strong pawn though, because he was decent in how the way he used. You knew how you to battle. Yeah. Right. Okay. So going into it, Karaman Camo, I believe that is the
black brother with the quote unquote
I forgot what they call that animal.
He's a chameleon.
Gecko, okay, the chameleon. I was about to say gecko, but Yeah, the chameleon.
I mean, same shit.
Yeah. But so this guy traditionally he didn't have to be convinced. He basically the only
He
convinced
wanted somebody strong to fight.
was just to get the stronger fighter. But the funny thing is, he is just a habitual cheater. He's not strong enough in his art as a martial art.
But he's a cheater.
Right.
He fights without honor.
Yeah, he fights without honor. Yeah, basically. And he's basically influenced by just wanting to fight the best fighters, which was his persuasion of Wing Knight. And surprisingly enough, he was pretty decent. He didn't know how to use the cards too well, but he was decent in his skill set because of his fighter background in martial arts. And he was pretty decent, able to, maneuver around and everything. But at the same time, all in all, he found his end as well. Now, one of the biggest players in this amongst Xaviax team was the one that hold down, if I'm not mistaken, the Kamen Rider animal, the bull. I forgot his name though. His proper name title. I don't want to just say Kamen Rider bull. But the green guy with the suit, with the shooter. You know what I'm talking about?
I'll repeat again, brother.
Yeah. No, I'm talking about the Kamen Rider with the animal of the bull.
Of the bull, bull with all the artillery and shit. Yeah. Torque.
Yeah.
Torque.
Okay, Kamen Rider Torque. So he was another good soldier of Xaviax, right? And probably
really
this one, the lethalest one, because when he activates one of the cards that is called
his
Kamen Rider Vent cards, which is basically the final blow to a Kamen Rider. Man, look, he summons a bull
DC out of everybody,
and literally puts his natural, weaponry shooter in there. And I'm telling you, if you get hit with the blast and artillery that bull,
even a part of the blast, you're done.
You're screwed. You're screwed. And there's no escape. He does massive damage. And so, I mean, but his weaponry is literally
the best soldier of the Xaviax sort of had to avoid that
because his weaponry style, right? Because his weaponry style was long range and
it's long range and short range, not really close range, but it's more.
Not really close range.
It's more mid to long range. That's what he's.
Mid to long range. Yeah,
he has rocket launchers. He has and then he has attack shots that goes on the shoulders like his paddings. Like actual hidden arm struts on his back.
Yeah, artillery. Yeah, the artillery.
Yeah. It's more heavy damage.
Right.
And I mean, honestly, for base, for like, I guess you want to say close melee range, or whatever.
Right.
Okay. What would you compare that to? What would his weapon be to you?
A pistol, basically.
And more like a laser pistol is what he has.
Yeah, laser pistol. Yeah, basically.
Yeah, and it does damage. It does some damage. But his heavy artillery stuff, it really does a lot.
Yeah, it does really a lot.
But like I said, he is the most
destructive.
Plus it scatters too.
Yeah.
More like a scattered attack on his final event. You get hit with any of those and you're done.
Yeah, literally. One add-on I would like to give up to if the other guy that played the Gecko or the whatever it is.
Chameleon.
Kamen Rider Camo.
Kamen Rider Camo.
Yeah, Kamen Rider Camo. If he was a little bit more smarter, I honestly will tell you, based upon his skill sets that he already had, plus then the skill sets of the cards, I think he would have been a problem just as much as anybody, just as much as Strike and Thrust was. Yeah, just as much as Strike and Thrust was, because this guy, I mean, he could have been a real good player, but the illusion of his own self-righteousness, it just blew him over, which didn't allow him to last. Which one's the next one we can put in here? So the next one.
So we named the very first one. The very first one in the very first episode was 2 episodes was Kamen Rider Scizor, and he was the one. He was the crab one.
Oh, okay, yeah, he was the. Oh, yeah.
Now, he got raised.
He was though, did we?
He's the orange one. The orange one. At the very
but we didn't see him. Did we actually see him?
Yeah, we saw him.
Oh, then wait a minute. Isn't it that rich looking dude?
Yeah, it was the rich dude.
Yeah, okay, it was the rich dude. Yeah. See, you notice the fact that I didn't remember him, that means he was whack.
Yeah, exactly. He's the wackest one out of everybody.
He just wasn't good in his skills. I'm sorry.
He didn't know how to fight. He didn't know anything, and
he did not know what he was doing with those cards. I'm sorry. He was pale. He was pale.
Exactly. He's not actually really worth talking about.
Exactly. Like, I'm gonna tell you like this. In a sense, he's basically the equivalence of Kent being a starter rookie of the Kamen Rider suit. He was more meant for him than anything else overall.
Yeah.
But the other guys, they're way more better overall. Just way more better. But coming down into it,
Kemba was better than him.
Right. So coming down into it, eventually into the series, right? We found a new Kamen Rider that we didn't know who it was, right? She was all white, black, and some gold. That was the
Kamen Rider Siren.
Okay, Kamen Rider Tai or
Siren.
Yeah, Siren. Okay, Siren. Okay, right. And her Kamen Rider was the animal of the swan.
Yep.
Now, funny enough, in this one, she it took a long time. I don't know what she was doing in the other world of Ventara at the time, but eventually she came to Earth. Now, surprisingly enough, she's actually Kamen Rider Wing Knight's girlfriend.
Yep.
And that was a very interesting part of the show.
By the way, they're about on the same tier. I think they were equal in terms of skill. The difference is she has finesse with her skill. Her style is more finesse and parry off techniques, and Lynn's is more tactical.
Right. And you can also tell that they're also similar in weaponry because just basic weaponry amongst their swords. Because their swords.
Well, what's his name? Like Lynn uses a joust and like a sword.
When he's using one of the cards, he uses a joust.
She uses like almost like a what was that? What's that shit? A chevalier sword, similar to them.
Yeah.
Fencing. It's almost like a fencer sword.
Right.
But she's really good at it.
Right. And her skill
she's not to be underestimated. Like I said, her skill level is on the same as Lynn's.
Right. Her skill set is very good.
And I mean, honestly, they casted a good, pretty blonde character to be a badass. Like in totally do pretty blondes.
Right. And one of the things
Black Canary and things like that. That's what you think.
Mostly all our characters had bikes. Hey, look! Shout out to the motorcycles out there. Okay, for the people that ride bikes, shout out to y'all because all the Kamen Riders have bikes. So that was a nice.
All the Kamen Riders have bikes. Like that's the thing. That's hence why they're called. Hence why they always use the term rider a lot in the freaking. Right. They don't even call them common. She said it's like we need real riders.
Right.
That term has been thrown. That terminology is been thrown in there where it's like you're a rider, you ride the bike, but also you're a Kamen Rider. You do both.
Right. And since technically they're Army grade, right?
They've been trained.
You basically have license to get to wherever you have to defend or battle, whatever these monsters and etc. So, it comes with the territory.
Did you tell them about and also, Wally, you also have to touch on the ability. They have the ability to hear noise. Whenever they make a contract.
Right.
When they make a contract, it's like this ability to hear this noise from the other side, or literally hear like whenever Xaviax's creature or general is like being abducted or like that. They actually hear it in their ears. It's like a ringing.
Right.
Only they can hear it. Other people can hear it except them.
Spider-Man's Spidey signal, but just with a very musical beat, like a siren in a sense, because that's what he sends off. Now, of course, let's get into it. Right. So, the two Asian brothers of the series, right? Which
Kamen Rider Spear and Axe.
Yeah, shout out to John. He's literally telling us in the chat, Kamen Rider Axe and Kamen Rider Spear. These two brothers, right, in the Earth world were actually two brothers.
Cho brothers, yeah, that's what they're called. Yeah, the
two brothers. They were thieves.
I just remember all of this.
and if I'm not mistaken, they didn't have too much convincing either. The main convincing was simply having money just to defeat Wing Knight.
Yeah, he actually gave him. You know what's so funny about this? He actually gave him the money.
Right, that's exactly.
To do it, and it was like,
so that was the main goal. So
all I gotta do is take out Wing Knight for me.
Right.
That's all it is.
So,
we
into this whole episode, right? When the two brothers,
someone 1-on-1, that's like the best episode. When he introduced him, he said, "You know who we are?" He said, "No," and he like beats both of them. He takes their decks.
Right.
He
so literally, Right, so
embarrasses
they try to come at Lynch
mode.
2-on-1, right? And they both said, "Oh, you know what?
And not in Kamen Rider mode."
Their appendix out. Lynch literally took the appendix from their hands
and kicked it right out
and kicked their butts.
Literally,
Lynch dropped the decks and literally battled them while they had the decks. Now, funny enough, Dragonite does eventually arrive to the scene and helps him in the battle, and he was facing Dragonite Axe, which has the animal cameo of the tiger, which, by the way, great suit, love the suits. Surprisingly enough, though, when he faced Kamen Rider Axe, he could have vented him, but he chose not to, which honestly was not the smartest move. But the irony comes later on in the episode, because later on in the episode, he actually has to vent his brother, which was Kamen Rider Spear. And if I'm not mistaken, now I didn't get to see his animal, but if I had to guess, it's either a deer and or antelope, one or the other. I couldn't tell.
Maybe I don't know.
It really wasn't shown in there, but just by looking at it, it just looked like one of those.
Because they never actually saw him ever do his final vent.
Right, they never saw the final vent.
So I can't
which one it is. It looked like a deer. Well, I want to say deer, like a deer with the horns. One of those. I was at an antelope, maybe. I just don't know for sure. But yeah, so he got vented, and between him and his brother, I believe he was just more of the clueless one as a combat fighter. Because surprisingly enough, he is a decent fighter. Don't get me wrong. But the thing is, he was just more naive as his brother was. So his brother survived, even though technically Kamen Rider Dragonite could have ended him, but didn't. And now he ended his brother's life. It took that away from him. And Kamen Rider Axe, he wanted to literally defeat Kamen Rider Dragonite because he took away his brother. But Xaviax did not want that to happen, because he wanted to keep Dragonite alive. And he wanted him to constantly keep attacking Wing Knight, not Dragonite. But sadly enough, because he keeps tackling Dragonite, he suffers a deadly end because he constantly keeps going for Dragonite. So eventually, Kamen Rider Strike, he vents him with his venomous, final vent and sends him packing. Now, as time goes on into the episode, now this is where a lot of this becomes a lot of heavy sightseeing. Now, funny enough, none of this doesn't really intertwine with the real meaning of why Lance didn't want to choose Kit to have the cards, but let's put it to this perspective. So eventually, this is where the touchy moments come in, because Kent did feel some type of way that Lance got his woman back in his life, and they were literally intercoursing because they having a bond, and it's like, I guess in a sense, Kent was
seen each other for so long,
jealous. Like he literally feel jealous in a sense, because he's like he been with Lance for a long time, and he just didn't have that vibe with him, and he's like, oh, now your girlfriend's back in the scene. It's like you forget about me. I say,
and and honestly, I chucked that up to like you being I chucked it up to like she had to kick his. She didn't give him a chance at first, and now that she comes back later on. Whenever and guys, we're gonna get to the big stuff soon, definitely.
Oh yeah, I'm
good because I actually like the turnaround and the callbacks, and just more often like the lessons that was learned for kids.
Right.
But specifically, she kicks his butt because she thinks that, or you're a Kamen Rider. I'm like, yeah, you gotta prove it because technically you're not anywhere near our skill, and also remember Lynn said you would need technically 5. Okay, I think I made a distinction. But I think Lynn said, you guys correct me if I'm wrong in the chat when Lynn said it, you would probably need 10 years, 4 years of training, but I think in 5 years, if you train with him, he'd probably be good as him.
Yeah.
No. Maybe not as good as him, but close to him. You'd be close.
Yeah, close.
That's all you need to be. You need to be on the tier of the Ventara fighters, and you're good. But like I said, I will say this. I'll say every Ventara fighter will probably is better than any Earth fighter, literally. The only dude that might have had some skills, I would say, okay, 2. If he wasn't sick, was Chris, aka Kamen Rider Sting. And by the way, Chris, Chris, he's actually a Hispanic military brother, which I did talk about earlier, who had like pretty much he had asthma, but asthma
that affected his performance.
the effective performance, which is why he couldn't join the military. And
Right.
one of his biggest gripes, and I think that was well done to show the military men out there. He's because he said every Ruiz has been a freaking and it's like a generation thing, has been a Marine. There's, like I said, like you're wrong, and I'm like, dude, the doctor's not wrong. And it's like it's what's keeping him from joining the military because it's what he wants to do, because it's what his dad wants. But also it's been a family tradition. Hence why it hindered him and it hurt him more, because he wanted to serve his country like his family.
Right.
So, and like I said, it's very Captain America, very Steve Rogers that I like. I love
Right.
it on that.
And
He was a great character because of that. Because
Right.
even though he was his sickness, even though he had a sickness, he still went out there and fight.
And I'll even say this: most of you
But
guys,
also, he also did write a letter to the characters before he got vended, to at least to his man to Lynn and freaking Kit, because they read his letter before he left.
right?
He
That
got vended, and now that was a sad part, because I was like, yeah, that's sad, bro. Whenever a character does that and it's just like they're gone and you read that shit, like, this shit is terrible. I'm not talking about terrible in the sense of like it's bad writing or whatever. I'm talking about terrible in the sense of like he left and he's not there with them anymore.
right.
And also this, when he got vended, it affected Lynn and Kid a lot, especially Lynn.
Right.
Honestly, I think they both were equally affected, but Lynn, it was hurting him more because he felt like he could have protected that soldier,
Right. I mean, that soldier, because how
trained with them and things like that.
never leave the soldier behind, and it's like he was constantly pushing himself, and just not being there enough to protect him. And seeing a soldier fall, it was like losing your own soldier.
Right, but the thing is, they had his back. That's
Right,
thing.
right, exactly.
They did have his back, and they were.
The biggest sad part of it though is the simple fact that, coming down to it, he wasn't able to meet the leader of the Kamen Riders that could have actually healed him from his sickness.
Now that doesn't happen till the very end, y'all.
Right.
Exactly. But we're going to give it to the Admin Master.
Right.
But the thing is, after the series of attacks, and after Spear and Axe are gone, because they actually both get vented. Now, Granted, Strike actually vents. Well, actually, did you actually hold on?
Yeah, actually, I already mentioned already. Strike vents.
Yeah. Strike vents Axe after Spear gets vented by after Dragon Knight, aka Kid. And the thing for him was, he didn't want to take Xaviax's money. He said, you can take your money back and all that, whatever. And it was just like, I just want to get revenge for my brother, because no, that was my brother, dude. So now, and it's like, it's a real thing. But the thing is with him, Strike tried to convince him that, you can't take on Xaviax, and it's like, I had a brother once and all this. And, that actually was a good moment for Strike, because I don't think even, he may be a snake, he actually was telling the truth, like, I did have a brother. And quote unquote, he did a lot of stupid decisions, like, yeah, he went to prison. Never saw him again after that.
Right.
And pretty soon I followed soon after with the stuff that I was doing. But which was a good moment, more often than not. Regardless, he's still evil, but he still had a good moment with the character. They were just trying to tell him, like, you gotta let this go a little bit, and it's like, nope. But the thing is, like I said, he told him, don't vent Wing Knight. I mean, not Wing Knight. Don't vent Dragon Knight. Which big thing of the series, y'all. Let's get to this, because this has to be talked about.
All right. We're gonna get down to the wire. But real quick, for all you guys, if you're still watching, please make sure you hit the like button. Thank you very much. So let's get into it.
Like a 40. I'm pretty sure I got the number right. There's like a 38 to 40 freaking episode series, and trust me, there's a lot. There's like 3 recaps in this freaking things, which we skipped those. But I watched it a long time ago, and it's just like, that's why I tell people to do that. But a big thing of the series is that Xaviax does not want Dragon Knight vented. And for the life of me, it did irk me when I first saw him. Like, why does he want him gone? If you just get rid of him, you can just get Wing Knight easier. That's what I'm saying. I don't understand. But the thing is, he's trying to convince Wing Knight to join them, to join Xaviax's side. Mm-hmm. At the beginning, he got tricked by Torque, but then he realized the truth of what was going on. Mm-hmm. Literally. So that's how he got Kevin to help Lynn's. He got convinced that Lynn in the very beginning of that, which quote unquote made him, trust Lynn more and things like that.
Right. Now,
but the thing is, Xaviax comes out and says, he comes out and says, you like I said, you were the biggest anomaly ever. You had no drive, no purpose to life, not anything. I couldn't get you like how you didn't have like drive like the other writers or the other people that I could convince with the decks. Like any of these Earth guys, I couldn't convince. You were the only one that stood out. Which he said the only thing, but it seemed the only thing you seemed to have to care for was your dad. Hence when he finally found his dad, which did you talk about that too, his father?
Right, I used this part.
Yeah, like
I'm
actually
that part right now.
vegetable.
That part. So as you guys remember, right, he was constantly hearing his father talk to him to bond with the dragon. In reality, that was the General Xaviax. He was the one saying all those things into his head. Join the dragon, connect with the dragon. He was the one getting him to connect. He was using his father's image into mind control, Kent to fuse with the dragon. In reality,
to make him steer him closer to his side is what it was.
Right.
And the thing is, he actually shows him. Because every day, throughout the whole series, he actually visits his dad in the hospital when he finally finds him because he doesn't remember in his life because he did get kidnapped. And also, like what he did with One Rider, he falsely accused Kid of some stuff. I mean, he did some action to make Kid be incarcerated and stuff. I say incarcerated. I think that's too strong of a word.
Well, yeah, I mean, trying to get him in trouble, but
trying to get him in trouble and like kind of join corrections, some type of stuff.
Right.
And the thing is, he was always a good kid, so he would never do stuff like that. And also, it's through him, one of the police officers that knows his dad because they have a connection, is actually what kept Kid out of actual jail.
Right. So to a time point, right? Kid had a very troubling time point. Now this is the troubling time
because his father disappeared. That's why.
Yeah. Right. Oh my goodness.
What happened?
Because you're over here taking up this. Okay, whatever. Look.
No, I'm not taking it up. I was just trying to make a point of clarification. I was making a point of clarification. That's all. Go ahead, brother.
I know.
Like I said, this is yours. You're killing it right now.
Yeah. But other than that, let me bring it up. So this was the troubling time in Kit's, time. With Lance's girlfriend coming back into the scene, and then of course his, thinking about his father and trying to rescue him. One of the tough times in Kit's journey of this whole thing is choosing what to do when it comes to his father and the Kamen Rider, the role of the Kamen Rider, and then constantly trying to pick a side. And part of this comes into play of two transactions. One was Xaviax actually giving back life to his father and letting him have a moment with his father. Surprise! And once I said before, Kent's father is alive, but his spirit is not present. And Xaviax gave back the spirit through, through some form of magic that he has, and literally give his father back life. Where his father was so confused because he couldn't remember what was happening and why he was in the hospital. But eventually he took it back and put his father back into the hypnosis of it all, put him back to sleep basically. And he told Kamen Rider Dragon Knight Kent to literally defeat and destroy Wing Knight, and he can get his father back. That was the deal. And Lance, he was going through so much, at that time, because he was constantly trying to deal with himself, saying what was the right choice. Now I'm gonna say this also intertwines with Kent a lot, because the extra add-on part is going to be the more questionnaire part. Remember what I said, these Kamen Riders are the reflection of the Kamen Riders that are from Mentara. This is where the crazy part comes in. So, of course, Kent, he chooses the right path, right? And he doesn't go against he doesn't go against Wing Knight Lance, and he stands by the Kamen Riders and try to fight Xaviax. But one of the more compelling things in Kent's time was a dream that he had. And in this dream, we actually see him turn into a black dragon. Now, what do you mean by that? What we're saying is his Kamen Rider suit goes in the form of the black dragon, right? So he's fully black, right? Fully black, and I think gold, I believe, if I'm not mistaken, in some parts, and some silver. And you will see him actually, battling Wing Knight, constantly out battling him. And what he does is he picks up the venting card, and he does his final vent and defeat Lance. But that's only in his dreams. This wasn't reality, right? And for some reason, we don't know why at that time, right? Why that happened. But funny enough, there was actually an extra deck. And crazy enough, that extra deck was the Black Dragon itself. Now, but let's get to that part and connect the dots on that. So further along the line, we finally find out, after Kent was actually finally defeated within the episode of the series, and he was actually defeated by, if I'm not mistaken, Kamen Rider Strike. If I'm not mistaken, right, Jed? I'm pretty sure he was defeated by him.
Read that one more time, brother.
I said he was defeated by Kamen Rider Strike.
Who was defeated by Strike? Which one?
Dragon Knight.
No. Dragon Knight was beaten by Kamen Rider Wrath. Wrath the Phoenix.
Oh wait. Okay, so my bad. So actually, so there was moments. Okay, so let me remind you guys, and salute to.
Now, he almost got Strike. Now he almost got Van.
Right. He almost got.
But lucky enough, he was lucky. Mid-second.
Right, he was lucky. But there was a battle time when they were in the woods with him and were injured, and they was trying to run away, and he couldn't save himself. So funny enough, General Xaviax, right? He actually had one of the Kamen Riders still alive and present, which was also Kamen Rider. Which was the name of it again?
Phoenix. No, I'm not Phoenix. Kamen Rider Wrath.
Right, Kamen Rider Wrath. Right,
and
his Kamen Rider was the Kamen Rider animal of the Phoenix.
Yeah.
Right. So now, lucky enough, his Kamen Rider was now when this Kamen Rider comes into play. So
he's basically Scorpion.
Yeah, this is like, bro, he's like really difficult. Badass. He's coming in there hot and heavy. But lucky enough, we do not see the Earth version, quote unquote, because the Earth version wasn't detailed within the series. But what General Xaviax did was kept the Kamen Rider version of him and hold him in his
version. Yeah, he kept the Ventara version.
And what he did was, simply went into the body of the Kamen Rider and used his body to fight Kent and Lance. And he eventually uses the vent card of the Phoenix, which automatically lighted him and made him took some damage, and of course vented him and sent him on packing. And that was sadly enough Dragon Knight's first of final stance.
Yeah. And he basically had abilities like Scorpion from Mortal Kombat, basically.
Right.
It was like I actually love his swords. Like his swords were like some badass.
Nice.
Yeah, bro. I ain't gonna lie, bro. When they translate this shit over from America, I was like, bro, that has got to be the dopest motherfucker with a fucking weapon I've ever seen with dual blade. And honestly,
right now,
that shit was painted in gold.
Right, and I'll tell you right now, his fighting style was literally on par with Dragon Knight,
and Sirens, if not better.
Even better, because his fighting on top par. I mean, he's probably like the top soldier.
Okay. Fun fact: he actually is before John. Because I'm gonna let you. John, I want you to say what you want to say, of course. But fun fact: Kamen Rider Wrath, that was Lin and Case's teacher. That was their mentor. He technically was the best out of all of them. But at that time, I think at that time specifically, if we're gonna compare, he was probably he was like a little above their tier. A tiny bit stronger than them, is what I would say. And the reason why is because they could still contend, which means it wasn't like a sweep. Because if that was the case, he would have just mollywopped all of them. Like really.
Right, but I also say in his skill set though, he can literally dodge attacks by simply feathering away and then reappearing again. So brings contrast. Right.
I actually want his shit personally, just because it's the Scorpion shit.
Right. I mean, it's the perfect combat skill set. It's nothing. But we got Gerard here, we got JBJ. So you guys, throw your inputs. If you guys seen the show, whatever you want to add.
Go ahead, brother.
All right.
Go first, JBJ. I'm gonna let you go next, brother.
Okay. I was introduced Kamen Rider Dragon Knight early in 2010 when I was 18 years old. It was aired on 4Kids TV
FCW.
at the time. Yeah, it was aired on 4Kids TV at the time, but it changed it to the CW for kids. Kamen Rider Dragon Knight to me, like what Wally mentioned, is like the Power Rangers vibe, which I agree. It's kind of like Power Rangers to me, you know what I'm saying? But it's different. Because every shows that I see at the past while I was a kid, shows like VR Troopers, shows like Mass Rider before Kamen Rider, and shows like Big Bad Beetleborgs through Beetleborgs Metallics, and shows like Mystic Knights. Yes. And Ultraman, I see it a little bit. So yeah, like Kamen Rider Dragon Knight was lit. It was legit at the same time. I enjoyed that show. I enjoyed it, and I loved the hell out of it. You know what I'm saying? Because if I was a Kamen Rider, my Kamen Rider name would be like Kamen Rider Leo. Because I'm a Leo. I'm a Leo, and my favorite animals is lions. Because if I have a Kamen Rider, it would be Kamen Rider Leo. Because I'm gonna have a lion animal. You know what I'm saying?
That sounds exactly like Sensei right now when I hear that. Yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, like I love that show at the time, you know what I'm saying? Because I haven't watched that for like a long time, you know, like sadly, because like I wish they could do season 2, but it did not happen. I feel like
I'll say this, Wally. We'll discuss that part later, at least near the very end, because like that's just more like our own thoughts of what it could be.
Right. I noticed one thing when you end up searching Kamen Rider for the first time and look around throughout the web, they do show other versions of many other Kamen Riders out there, which was so very interesting. Which I liked it very much. And personally, I do believe that they can keep this trend going on. I believe they can literally, push it forward because we don't really get to see what does the other flip side look like, let alone what does the advance of stopping Xaviax really looks like. And his other troopers out there in the world,
right?
They're actually full-blown aliens, but they're actually aliens. The technology is more advanced, and bro, you do realize they have like pulse, like techniques like Jedi's, if not better. They have like pulse healing shit. Like he puts them in a meditative trance where they can heal. It's just like, bro, it's so crazy. Like there's a lot of shit that's there. Because remember, the humans even ask them, how do you know how to do all this? How do you create the Avendex? How did you create freaking the
Avendex are like morphers. The Avendex are like morphers. You know what I'm saying?
They are like morphers, but the thing is, they're more like it's more of a binding contract, is what it is.
Right. Yeah, basically binding contract. Yeah.
Well, yeah, because once you bind with the Avendex, you're stuck with it until the Avenmaster can take it off of you. He's
right. Technically, the Advent is the only one that can assign the Advent to somebody else.
Yeah, which is a dope ability.
We're gonna get to that part, though. We're gonna get to that part. I don't want to spoil it. But throw it up, man. Throw it up.
That's the white shirt. Hey, y'all see me over here, man. You know I'll be flossing, man.
Hey, you know what?
Dude look like he coming from the beach on vacation.
Hold on. Since you got your blue light on, hold on, motherfucker. You ain't the only one I got the light of this bitch.
It's gonna change it a little bit. It ain't gonna be blue for too long, man. It ain't gonna be blue for too long, man. It's gonna change in a second.
Oh, yeah, with y'all color switch and aroma and stuff.
Hey man, listen. I'm the one that rock the blue lights, bro. But fuck that shit.
It's gonna change in a second, man. It ain't. I ain't stealing your blue, man.
You are right. You are. We joking.
But JBJ?
Huh? What you say, Wally?
I say, do you got anything to add?
Now, I didn't know y'all was talking about Pokemon tonight, man. I got Mark. I think Mark is somebody. Matter of fact, it was you, Jake, sent me the thing. I think, but I was like, yeah, let me come over here and fuck with y'all, man. I didn't know y'all talking about Pokemon, but I will tell you this.
Okay, did Marcus tell you that?
I knew it couldn't have been me because that's not the
Then
type.
Mark would tell you that they was going to talk about Pokemon.
Don't nobody ever tell me shit, man. Don't nobody tell me nothing. I just get a link. But I will tell you this though. Dragon Knight was my second favorite Pokemon. Next to Bulbasaur.
You mean
Okay,
Charizard?
Jay, my man,
Are you
you
trolling right
got
now?
it all wrong, buddy. You got it all wrong.
Tripping, man.
It's nothing like Pokemon. It's Kamen Rider, Dragon Knight. That's what it calls. It ain't nothing like Pokemon. It's like Power Rangers, okay?
See, so that's the thing that get me, man. The next evolution, y'all on the next evolution. Like, dude, I stopped playing. I had a Game Boy, played all the Pokemon games.
Yeah,
I
I
stopped
got you.
at Diamond.
I love this.
That's where I stopped, dude. I stopped at Diamond. So I'm
Well,
like,
this
all the
is
new
some
Pokemon, I don't know about them.
Bro,
Yeah, I thought that Diamond Pearl myself.
bro, this is Pokemon, not what we're talking about here.
See, I don't know nothing about that shit, man.
I know that, man, but that's not the topic they are talking about.
Download and watch for yourself. This is what we're talking about. So you can
We
get
are
it.
talking about Kamen Rider Dragon Knight. It's kind of like Power Rangers Vive.
Except,
Okay.
Right. I mean, if we had to compare, Kamen Rider and Power Rangers, which series of Power Rangers do you think they compare to the most?
Shit.
Because for me,
I think
if I had
they did better. I think I'll say this. I think if Kamen Rider did a better job, it'd be like SPD Power Rangers. And the reason why I'm gonna say that is because they're literally like police and they're trained in the academy to be Power Rangers.
Right, you got a
Okay,
point
well,
there.
let me tell you one of my favorite Power Rangers.
That's different.
Let me tell you one of my favorite Power Rangers. Okay, back then, one of mine is like Ninja
Zack
Storm, Ninja Storm, and Jungle Fury.
Ninja Storm.
I couldn't get into Jungle.
Yes.
Fury. It's so weird.
Power Rangers Ninja Storm is like a martial arts, like where you have kids go to the Ninja Academy.
Okay,
You know what I'm saying? And Power Rangers Jungle Fury is kind of like a kung fu martial arts vibe. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like,
Yep. Yeah, that sounds about right. But I think
Favorite color Ranger, though. Favorite color Ranger.
We'll get to that part, but let me tell you my comparison that I look
why does
at.
that matter?
Huh?
You said favorite color Ranger?
What color did he say?
he's their favorite color Power Ranger.
I didn't tell you.
Which
Before
color
I
did he
get to that, I was talking about something else.
Oh! I thought that's what JBJ said.
I was asking, like, what was your favorite color Power Ranger?
Oh, what's my favorite? Nigga, that's a. Damn.
Come on, pick the black one. Come on, pick the black one. Be black.
I had to pick the White Ranger.
White Ranger? Okay. I was.
Wait. Which White Ranger? Which White Ranger? There's multiple.
I don't know. You see, okay, so the man is white, but he is wearing a black fucking Ranger. So I guess you can say the Black Dino Thunder Ranger. You can say that.
Tommy Oliver was every single
green,
different
red.
Power Rangers.
Well, he was every single color, but he was like 40.
Green. First he was green, then he was white, and he was both red of Zeo and Turbo. Then he was the Black Ranger and Dino.
He was the Black Ranger after that, and that's the last one. Yeah.
Right.
And so Tommy Oliver is one of my favorite Power Rangers. For the moment I saw him, when he was the Green Ranger, because like no disrespect to Jason, but Tommy is one of my favorite ones.
Yeah, young Jason, dude, like
yeah, because it got me so interested based on his martial arts moves. His martial arts moves.
Yeah.
I can't compare to Jason because Jason is a good martial artist too, but Tommy is different.
No, what's his name? Austin. Wait. St. Austin.
Austin St. John.
John. That's what it was. St. John.
Yeah, Austin St. John came from a martial arts background, and so is Jason David Frank.
Yeah, I lose that weight, but yeah, he good though.
Well,
all right, bro.
It's
Get back to the talk.
Yeah, real quick, just to entertain this. I mean, for me, I really can't pick a color because that also contrary with the actual person that wears the suit. So that's too much bias for me. But if I had to choose on an overall, it would have to be, if I'm not mistaken, majority most of the times the Red Ranger.
Of course, I got you, brother.
Yeah,
Red Ranger's leader.
Red
Now,
Ranger
I would say the red on SPU because he's black and he wears dreadlocks.
Because the Red Ranger usually have more of the trouble and or the leadership high level storyline.
He's always a leader.
But I'll also say the rarities though they have exceptions and the rarities are good. The rarities are good. But if I had to real talk about the real Red Ranger, now the one Red Ranger that I do like the most is my favorite. It's from the Power Ranger, the one that was from space.
Power Rangers in space.
No.
Which one?
Whoa, which one?
You know the one with the red Quantum Ranger.
Oh,
Quantum Ranger, Power Rangers, Time Force.
Talking about Eric.
Yeah, Time Force. Yes, thank you.
Eric.
Red Quantum Ranger. That was my favorite ninja. That was my dude.
Quantum Ranger,
yeah, I love Quantum Ranger as well because let me tell you something about Quantum Ranger. He's my favorite one as well because Quantum Ranger, Eric, he's a loner. Like
that's me.
Like
who's me?
Like Eric trying to prove himself that he wants to be the best. He can be both Silver Guardian and a Power Ranger. Like he worked very hard. You know what I'm saying? Because Eric feel like that he has no one. That and he feel like that he was friends with Wes at the time. They were best friends, but that feel like they stopped being friends.
Right.
What's the purpose of that?
Right. Because in just to give you a quick contrary, in Power Rangers Time Force, Wes and who's the other dude again? I keep forgetting his names.
Wes came from a rich family, a rich territory.
Yeah, rich man. I know who Wes is. I'm saying who's the other guy's name? I forgot the other guy's name.
Eric.
Okay, Eric. So both of them two have both a relationship. They were both cool friends, but eventually,
well, not at first. But they were said to be. It was
right. They were said to be friends, but his life happened, and they pinnacled to different lifestyles. The only difference is, the Quantum Red Ranger didn't know about Wes because Wes didn't care for the rich life that he had. He didn't care for it at all. But that's the life that he lived. And he couldn't blame him for that.
He's the only one to break that rich white boy stereotype.
Exactly. And the funny thing enough is, his old friend now works with his father on the police force, a custom police force that he has made.
Silver Guardians. Yeah,
the Silver Guardians. And the funny thing enough is, as much as they try to, as much as he met his old friend, they just, he wasn't feeling him like that anymore because of the simple fact that the bond wasn't there. And, in a lot of ways that plays into real life, right? You're not connecting with your friends and all that. Eventually the relationship, it dies out. And, that's what happens. But the reason why I wanted to mention, what Power Ranger show pales in comparison is actually the reason why I wanted to talk about this because when I look at Kamen Rider Dragon Knight and Power Rangers Time Force, it's actually the same for me.
I didn't know he was gonna make that comparison. How did I know that shit?
Hey y'all!
If you actually think about it, it's really a comparison.
I might be back.
All right.
I gotta go check on these folks. You know how it is.
Yeah. Because you're over there. I think you probably left over there anyway. But yeah,
he left.
But the reason why I make these comparisons is because most of the Time Force Rangers were actually from the future. And if you actually paid attention, the Red Ranger of the present time is actually the same dude from the future time.
Yeah, how weird is that? You know what I'm saying? Because you have the same guy from the future and again the same guy from the past.
But the funniness of it all too, both the guys are different in the way they move. They both are different. See, in a lot of ways, when you look at Wes from the future, he is this high intellect, rich, high standing, high patrol guy. But Wes in the present time, he doesn't care for that at all. He doesn't care for that stigma. He doesn't care for that lifestyle. He's just a guy that just want to live, in a sense.
Yeah,
Good.
like for Jan, on the other hand, like I can't take her seriously. I'm sorry. Like,
But yeah. But
let me explain.
Go ahead.
Let me explain. Let me explain.
Kamen Rider, because I do.
I know. I'm gonna speed it up.
Let me explain.
But Jerron, I gotta disagree with you. I love Jin. She is the only leader. She's the one leading the team. Wes is not really the leader until he deserves. Not deserves.
Well, technically, Wes is the leader when it comes to the end. When it comes towards the end now.
Hold on. Let me explain.
Not at the beginning.
The only thing that I know, Jen is a great Power Ranger, but the reason I'm saying, I know she is, but the reason that I'm saying that I don't take Jen seriously because the way she acts. I know she lost Alex. They were supposed to get married. They were like boyfriend girlfriend, like they were boyfriend girlfriend, and then Alex proposed to her, and like. We all know it's a kid's show. It's no kissing. It's no kissing. It's a kid's show. Okay, relax, people. So like,
They weren't kissing?
So like, come on now,
dude. Like, let's be real. We really had a Pokemon show, fucking censoring these two kissing.
Yeah, but in Power Rangers, no, they say like, no, we ain't doing that. It's a kid's show.
Yeah.
but it's.
Yeah, go ahead. Here you go.
But except for Mighty Morphin Power Rangers, let me tell you the story. In Mighty Morphin Power Rangers, the Christmas special, when Kimberly and Tommy kissed for the first time, when they saw the mistletoe, what you gonna say about that, bro? What you gonna say about that? You gonna go whine and complain because of the kids show?
The ladder. Who's the ladder? Just the ladder. But let's get back into it. But I want to make that quick comparison, guys. I want to make that quick comparison. You know, that's how I look at it. You know, future, other world dimension. You know, and the fact that you got the same character as the character that should have been the original, you know, battle character. But that's why I want to make that comparison. But real quick, let me get back into the flow. So, as we already know, with all that being said, so. Eventually down the line in Kamen Riders, the journalist of the show finds out that the journalist that she worked with is actually a secret agent. And I don't know if it's CIA or, you know, whatever.
The Newman. Or Noman. Not Newman, Noman.
Okay, the Noman. Okay, right. And she was a secret agent. And surprisingly enough, so as we all know, right, the Kamen Riders did not know where their leader was. In the battle with Xaviax, the Kamen Rider was dealt with the massive blow, and the massive blow transferred him somewhere else, which technically was Earth, but didn't know where he landed. Surprisingly enough, they're the ones that actually guided him and saved him and hold him in their chamber. And surprisingly enough, he's been there with them ever since. So the only way to revive him was to actually give him some energy boost from the same Kamen Rider, the Avendek force. And luckily enough, when Lance saw his master, aka the leader of the Kamen Riders, he gave it a little jolt to where the Kamen Rider leader was able to awaken into the Earth realm, which eventually we eventually see him for the first time in a long time of this episode. He is the leader and also the originator and the creator of the Avendek, and is the top force of this. Now, what's so special about him is this. When he came into play, he was able to rescue the remaining Kamen Riders that were in a void.
Yeah, right? In the frozen void. Yeah, it was okay. That character that you mentioned, the leader of the Kamen Riders, the creator Avendax, was played by Mark DeCastros. Mark DeCastros was well known. Okay, actor, martial artist, you name it. And what I find out. The first time I watched Kamen Rider, what I find out that Mark DeCastro was in there, I was shocked. Like, Mark DeCastros? Oh my God, Mark DeCastros.
He has some great actors. Right. I think that's actually the strength of this show, is that the actors, they actually got actual martial artists, and they actually got good actors in certain things.
Right.
And that's why I said acting never felt cheesy, never felt dumb.
Yeah.
And there's a little cheesy there, but it's not like.
Yeah, I think the cheesy was a
it's
little
not
more
corny
for the
or
beginning
cringe.
part.
It
But
goes.
towards the end, it was on fire. It was on fire.
There's one. Okay, I'll be honest. There's one character at the start of the series that was cringe, but it wasn't.
Right. Yeah, after that, yeah.
Yo, if I say it, the whole world is gonna be so surprised. But I'll keep that between the three of us. I'll say off screen.
But so here's the next part, right? So ever since he got back into the play and he was reborn and give him repowered, right? He was able to now rescue his fellow comrades that were stuck in the
Venturan Riders. Yeah.
Right. And he was the only one that was able to go through there and rescue them.
Since he's the creator, he created all the dimensional technology. He even said
all the soldiers is not easy though, because it takes a lot of energy to do so. So he did it with time, but it was all well worth it.
Spirits too, don't forget that. Like,
I
do want to point this out. Eventually, I do want to point this out, Wally. Mm-hmm. Eventually, because you might have forgot when he said this. He said if a rider was ever hurt, they would be sent to the Avid Void. It's not. It was never an imprisonment to begin with in the first place.
Right.
But it means they can never get out because only he can go out and go get them. So technically, it would have been a imprisonment without him ever being existed or some shit. Then it's like an imprisonment.
Right. Because basically, they're in a sleep pod, and they can get out until he's the one gets them out of the pods.
Which actually sucks. Not gonna lie.
Right. And in that time, he rescued all his comrades, and they brought them to Earth, and they were ready to prepare to get into battle and join the team. Now, one of the adventures of him rescuing was actually Kit. Now, you didn't get to see Kit, but you saw him when he returned. Funny enough was when Kamen Rider Dragon Knight came back into the episodes, you saw him in the black suit that I mentioned about.
Kamen Rider Onyx, which is like the black version is better than the red version.
That's Kamen Rider now. Basically, in this case, Kamen Rider Onyx was basically the rarity of the show because he was that special, quote-unquote, Power Ranger in the whole show that was different from the rest, but that was very special, right?
Kamen Rider Onyx, the black one.
Right. Because for me, I like to sit here and say that Kamen Rider Onyx was really more, I would like to say Kamen Rider, it wasn't a copycat, but in this case, it was a copycat of the originator because of the simple fact of how the game played out. I mean, for me, I thought the decks was made just because of the simple fact that both the originator that was from Ventara and then the one from Earth was able to fuse with Dragon, which then made the deck because of the simple fact that both of them were able to join with this dragon. So it actually, in a sense, made a baby version of it.
Right. And the thing is, there was never a previous user of that deck, I guess.
Exactly. There was never no previous user.
Probably just had it.
That's why I call it the copycat
one until he found a writer that could do it, but probably before he and stuff. And that's why he gave it to him. He was like, "Hey," he said, "You shouldn't give me that shit because I'm almost
he was literally in fear of it.
My friends with that crap," and he says, "Nah, you should."
Right. He was in fear of
stuff like that.
Right, because I'll say this.
Explain what, like, all those dreams he had, like, at least when it came to, like, when he had dreams of seeing the Black Onyx Rider and him getting them, he said it's literally, he said those dreams, he said it's literally the Avid Beast trying to impose his will on you. He said as long as you accept the fears, he said once you contract with it, they said the beast is tame, like the nightmares will go away. He says all the writers have them.
Right.
It wasn't just you that had it. We all had it too when we first got it.
Right.
Which would be a good flashback to see if they all had like visions of that stuff, and then they had to.
Right. It's like trying to avoid your calling, but you can't. You just got to follow what you're calling.
Yeah.
But I like to sit here and say this: the Onyx deck, it reminded me in a sense of like Venom. When Spider-Man joined with the Venom, the Black Venom, and it literally gave a new persona, just a new way of life. It's just a new energy.
And when he was dreaming, he was fighting it.
I'm gonna tell you right now, when Kent came back, I'm telling you, it was just a new flow, a new style of image for him. But the thing was, there was a small moment. It could have, it almost coerced him in a sense because he was about to do the worst, but he got control of it and didn't do what he was going to do. And, and that was that one moment. But I'll tell you, man, look, that was some great piece of work. Eventually, now, of course, like I said before, right in the first beginning, Kent is actually a copy. It's the Earth copy of the original guy of the
Adam.
that's
Adam.
in.
Adam is the Ventara Rider and Kit is the Earth.
But now, why does he comes into this play? The reason why is because he actually sold out the rest of the Kamen Riders mainly for one thing: his girlfriend. I know, right?
Adam.
Yeah.
Adam.
Oh yeah.
Now, the reason why that
he did get tricked too.
play,
He did sell it out, but also he was tricked too. So I do want to point that out.
And this is why I said Kent's story and his were actually the biggest part of this whole series, because when you look at Kent, what he did versus what his copy did, Kent was willing to almost sacrifice his father in a sense, knowing that he probably wouldn't get him back. Whereas, Adam, he sacrificed his warriors and his teammates just for his girlfriend and to be away from the dragon. And, that was the thing. But, he came back into the fold and came back as Dragon Knight because he had no choice, because he had to work for it, Xaviax. He was basically Xaviax's last warrior that he could, force his will on. But eventually, he got into a troubled time. He's tried to to recruit his teammates, trying to get his respect and let alone to get the trust factor back. But eventually, he keeps playing the Xaviax his games and tides to the point where where there was a moment that he was supposed to use one of the devices to destroy one of Xaviax's machines to absorb Earth. And luckily enough, sadly enough, he didn't do it. He faked it, and he basically did Xaviax's his civic duty, which sort of ultimately just made it worse for himself. But as time went on, Xaviax was constantly pushing this guy because he knew he was making all the wrong choices. But there was a time where Xaviax saw him being conflicted. So what he did was he copied the image of the head leader of the Kamen Riders and basically persuaded that he was him. In reality, he wasn't. And all he did was trying to poison his mind. And there was to a point where he almost, vented Lance. Him and Lance got into a battle because all this coercing it in his mind. And he almost vented Lance. Lance even provoked him to say, do it. And of course, he didn't. He falls to his knees. The Kamen Rider, the suit, went off of him, and he fell to his knees because he knew he was doing something wrong. And to be honest, the funny thing was he was able to give the chance to speak his mind and why he did what he did, and to only find out that he was just a fool to Xaviax's mind control because the leader never fought him. He would never do what he did, that he said that he did, and he realized he was convinced. He realized he was, being controlled, and he was just a fool. And luckily enough, the leader gave him another chance to prove his mettle, and so did the group. And one thing that he had to do was simply use the Kamen Rider suit and join them and stop Xaviax from doing what he planned to do. But one of the many hard things that he had to do was go back to Ventara, speak to his girlfriend, and tell him the truth of what's going on. It was sort of heartbreaking because we didn't really get to see too much, but it was sort of heartbreaking, but it had to be done.
You had to tell her the truth and everything. And also, but I do want to point this out. What actually, I remember you saying about Onyx and stuff, like, Adam and stuff. Let's not forget, we get the twin, the twin Kamen Rider fight. The fight between the two, quote unquote, twins.
Dragon
boys.
Yeah, I actually mentioned that part. Yeah, I actually mentioned that part.
To me, it's so funny because here's a crazy thing. And Jaron, I will let you comment after this. It's funny how one was less experienced but got better when he came back with the black. But it's also more funny that one who is more experienced was rusty.
Exactly. And the sad part, the funny part about it was
that's the difference. I think if Adam was at his peak, it would be a very close fight. But I think Kid might come out on top. I think it might be a tie, or Kid comes out on top because he has the edge with the Onyx deck.
Right. So surprisingly enough, so let me do a little backtrack.
He got better.
Yeah. So let me do a little backtrack. So funny enough, when Lint's girlfriend came back to, finally came to the world of Earth, she actually had two special cards holding for both Lint and Kid. And these two special cards were very you could say advanced battle suits. You know, if you ever watch Power Rangers, you know exactly what I'm talking
like
about.
a super form, like a
The super form, right?
Analyzers.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
These battle suits were only special to so far Kamen Rider Wing Knight and Kamen Rider Dragon Knight. And sadly enough, the Adam, he gets the special card now because, of course, Kit was vented and not Kit. Which honestly, that was the one thing I was actually sort of surprised because I really wanted Kent to regain the original Dragon simply because he proved that he earned that medal more than the original person. And I think the original deserved the backsuit just because of his disdain.
Mm-hmm.
But nonetheless, I actually am okay with Kent with the Black Dragon anyways because it's just badass. It just really is.
Yeah.
Go ahead, John.
So like I want to get this because I'm gonna tell you why like when Knight and Dragon Knight used to battle. So okay, let's take you back to what happened to Len's girlfriend was invented by Strike.
Right. Oh yeah, the way he did
Yes.
him, I love that. He got his ass. He flew right through his ass.
Man, look.
Yes.
That made
Let me tell you.
Oh my god.
I know. Let me explain.
Go ahead, brother.
Because the moment that Lent's girlfriend was invented by Strike, Lent lost it. And for me, it was the sad part, but Lent, I had never, ever see him like this because if you lost the person that you love, you have every right to act that way. You have every right to defend your girlfriend and you have every right to defend your girlfriend, to defend your honor. Because if I was Lentz, I would do exactly the same thing if anything happens to her. Because I had never ever seen him that way. And that to me, I can relate to that. Like it's somebody else's girlfriend, fiance, wife. Come on now. You gotta feel for Lentz. You can't blame him. I don't blame him. And Strike, to be honest, he got exactly what he deserved finally. He got what he deserved. And I am glad that Win Knight did what he did. And that's the most tragic part that I ever seen. First you lost your girlfriend, then you lost Kent. And that's tragedy.
Yep. Well, you still there?
Yeah, man, I'm still here. I was doing something in that. But real quick, another reason why Lance, and this is the biggest part. I'm gonna speak on Lance's part. Lance. The real reason why he didn't want Kit to be Dragon Knight is simply because Adam was Lance's best friend, and you know, in a weird way, he just didn't want to see the Earth version of him be the Dragon Knight. And in a lot of ways, he didn't really want to bond with him because I think, in the same sense of the journey in our series that felt the same way about Kamen Rider Strike, he somewhat had a resentment in a sense because of what Adam did to him and the team by betraying him and betraying the whole team simply just because of his girlfriend and not being wanted to be a Kamen Rider, knowing he has served an oath as a soldier and to his team as a unit. And I think that was the biggest reason why he didn't want him to be a Dragon Knight, but it was actually a pretty decent reason for him to feel a bond with the Earth version, because it was just like having the bond with him in Ventara, in a sense.
Now, granted, there was a reason why too, because remember, the Kamen Rider suspended animation line. Like, they have to go into cryo sleep for like 10 years. And then, once a rider guards out and then another rider goes in. I think that was specifically because the Advent Master was gone, but they said that was the rule. Like, we're gonna spend an edge for 10 years. So you'll sleep for 10 years, but every time you'll get that. That's why they don't age is the way they do. They do age, but it's so much slower. It's like the monkey thing. You come out like Winter Soldier when we need you. It's basically what it is. All of them go through it. And his whole thing was like, I can't be. I'm stuck to the because I'm pretty sure his girl's name is Sarah. And he said, like, I can't go because I'm stuck to this thing. I'm in it for life, and I can't get out of it. He said, Master Yoberwan was here. He could get me out of this. I want to be stuck with this. I can actually separate myself from the Advent deck, and I can live my life with you if I could. I can't. So that was his whole dilemma.
Right. Yeah. So basically, to Jay's point, yeah, he just didn't want to suffer the absolute finery death of being bent, and that was sucking it in the most cases,
right? Especially
not knowing where the leader was.
Now, Molly, you want to get to the climax, to where
right? So the climax,
and then you have everyone versus. Okay, so you have the original writers. I say original writers. You have Siren, you have Lance, you have Kit, you have Adam, and then you have the Advent Master. And you have them all. Well, first you have 101, Advent Master versus Xaviax. And Xaviax is, he's wilding right now. He's actually giving the Master like comp, if not beating him a little bit more.
Right.
Xaviax is a manipulator.
He's a manipulator, but he's a good fighter. I think I give him that. He actually is.
Right. But real quick, at one point, when Xaviax, not Xaviax, but when Lance lost his girlfriend, of course, right? At a time, when the Advent Master was around, the Advent Master was able to give the Advent deck to the journalist. I think it's Jane.
Maya.
Okay, Maya. Yeah, he was able to give the Advent deck to Maya, and she was able to become a Kamen Rider for a time. Now, of course, overall, she was able to give Lance's girlfriend's memories, battle style, everything, but she wasn't really equipped to be a Kamen Rider. So of course she surrendered over when she was rescued from the Advent world and gave her back the Advent deck so where she could be a Kamen Rider again. But that's just one part in the series that you see someone else that wasn't originally a Kamen Rider become a Kamen Rider, which is very interesting. But but coming down the wire, so as the final battle comes to close, the Kamen Riders are constantly trying to find the final area to where they have to shut down and finally defeat Xaviax. And they're getting closer because the minions of Xaviax are at a big, huge number. And once they finally meet up with the leader of the Kamen Riders, meet up with Xaviax, and was about to bring in some warriors. Of course, you was about to see Kamen Rider Spear, Kamen Rider Wrath, and another Kamen Rider. But Xaviax stopped them from coming to the portal, so they couldn't come in. So it was for the time being, it was Xaviax versus the leader of the Kamen Riders, and they were battling. Now, this is the first time in a long time you see Xaviax at all actually started to really fight as his true alien form. And I will say he is a powerful enemy, and he's very, true form badass in this whole series. And he showed his mettle. He showed his mettle as a villain. But when it all came crashing down, the other Kamen Riders came in, and the leader of the Kamen Riders made a special Advent card. It was a final blow where all the Kamen Riders joined, activate this card at the same time to defeat Xaviax and put him away forever. Now, Xaviax thought he was unbeatable, he was unstoppable, and he thought that even if he gets defeated, he comes back. But this time around, not so fast. This time, he was defeated, and it was for good. And, that was just the final episode and the final battle for the Kamen Riders to face at the time.
Yes. Like, by strike. that strike, Kamen Rider Strike is a piece of shit.
The Earth version he's talking about.
I mean, like, if I'm not gonna like knew that those Kamen Riders that we mentioned, I don't know, they like from another world.
You were talking about the Earth version, or talking about the Ventara version?
Ventara ones. Which one?
Yeah, they're from another world.
The Ventara ones.
Yeah, the ones that he summoned when he summoned Xaviax, and even the ones that brought back like the one that let the Cho Bros and all that, and of course Torkin on them. Those were the Ventara ones, like the good guys, the soldiers. And that's a mention. They had great camaraderie and chemistry for the times we saw them on those like 4 episode missions. They had good chemistry with each other. Like I should believe that they were all cool with each other. Like the actors, who play their doubles, like they did a really great job. Like these cameras are more fun, but they're more tactical, and they understand one another. They actually went through something, so they can understand that. Like Chase and Price, like they're really cool.
Right.
Yeah, but that's mainly the end of the whole series right there.
Yeah, and
I made some hits and pits.
And is that Kid
I made some here and there, but
Dragonite.
that's what it is.
Yeah, Kid chooses to be the Red Dragonite. Sorry about that, Wally. And I would prefer to. If I was him, I would have kept Black because personally, I think he rocked it really nice. And also, the Advent Master cures. He frees all the Earth Riders. He erases their memory of ever being riders and whatsoever. And he cures Kid, Kid's dad, and he cures Chris, Kamen Rider Sting's sickness. And I'm like, yo, it's one of the best endings ever. And also, like I said, he chosen to be a Ventaran rider, and he's in the Dragonite. That's it. So it's pretty much a passing of a legacy on. And guys, that is overall Kamen Rider Dragonite. I would suggest you guys check it out. Not the people in this panel, but people who are watching the audience.
Yeah.
And also,
if we had to give the show a rating, definitely I would give this a solid 8 out of 10.
I give it an 8.8.
Yeah.
I'll rate a 10 out of 10. Like, come on now.
I mean, I'm giving it.
Here's my reason why I say 8 out of 10. Because
there's actually one
at the beginning, like when you look at some of the finishes, when you think about most of the battles and finishes, you'll be thinking like, okay, this is a little bit mediocre. So you'd have to sit here and say at least 8 out of 10.
Yeah, I'm not gonna say perfect score.
Yeah,
I'm gonna give it 8 out of 8.
Because then the battles would literally have to be badass from the jump.
Yeah, they would have to.
Yeah.
And the thing is, like I said, some characters come out of nowhere and it's never addressed where they've been. Like Siren kind of came out of nowhere, and it wasn't even explained that she was battling or whatever. Like there was
They didn't show no backstory.
Not a backstory or anything like that.
Yeah, it didn't show like where she was coming from.
It's after rewatching it, bro. I'm like,
I
never did forget that, and I was like, I'm rewatching it in case I missed it or she ever talked about it. Nope, didn't say nothing. But yeah, I'm trying to think if there's something else. There was something else that was bugging me, but I can't remember.
Yeah. So basically, what do we think of it as? Let's say if there was a season 2.
Yeah, we're gonna talk about that real quick. I know Jerron want to say it. Jerron, you brought it up. You get to talk first.
So, like,
what do we think it'd be about? Because it should be about Ventara in my mind.
I was gonna say Ventara because like the leader of the Kamen Riders have released all the Kamen Rider soldiers. Like I thought for me it was supposed to be season 2 ever since the season finale, but it did not happen because I was pissed off when they did not mention Kamen Rider Dragonite season 2. I was pissed off. Like you cannot not just do like season 1 and do the season finale and then you decide to cancel it.
Exactly, because what's funny is there's actually a Kamen Rider that I have seen or at least heard of that's actually supposed to be top notch in that show that we haven't seen yet. That's in the Japan version.
And why the hell did you just gonna cancel a show that people looking forward to season 2? And you also made the video game of Kamen Rider Dragon Knight.
Yeah, I'm surprised they even had. See, I didn't even see it for free. I didn't even see that.
Yeah, I did, and I never played it.
Man.
That to me was a spit in the face of like every like shows that we watch are like Power Ranger vibes. Like it's
funny how they can, you know, because it's funny, right? Because the same creators of Power Rangers are the same creators of Kamen Rider. They're the same freaking people.
Tell that to Saban, Harold Saban. I mean, no, Harold Saban. Like,
as good as they're able to make Power Rangers, you couldn't continue the Dragon Knight series. Like that was crazy. Especially since Power Rangers your moneymaker, why not continue the Dragon Knight? But I digress.
Yeah, you did VR Troopers, you did Mask Rider, you did Big Bad Beetleborgs / Beetleborgs Metallics, you did the Mystic Knights, you did Superhuman Samurai Cyber Squad, you did Tattoo Teenage Alien Fighters from Beverly Hills. Like, come on, bro. Come on. All those shows that I mentioned are like Power Rangers vibes, and that is an awesome thing for them to do.
But this was just the cream of the crop that didn't get to see the light, which sort of blows. But I mean, once again, it goes to show you, right? It's like you see a good series, you see all of it, but you know, we don't know what's the backstory of it all. We don't know what's the backstory why they didn't continue it at all. But nonetheless, you know, it was a great series for what it was. It could have been greater if they continued the series overall. Because we don't know if, you know, General Xaviax was the only badass person in the world. We don't know if he's the only villain. You know, his people are still out there. We don't know if he's the only villain, you know? So it was crazy. We don't know if Kent, you know, lived in the world of Ventara. We don't know if he constantly continued to join the battle and, you know, really live in Kantara, you know, probably build a bond there, even though it's in an alien world other than Earth. We don't know, but man, it was just something that just didn't seem like.
Right.
Yeah, but I think we have everything we had to say here today. Jay, I don't know if you want to say anything else because I know you got somewhere to go. But, yeah. Well, hopefully, you know, you guys, if you ever get a chance to rewatch this, you know, hopefully we get your critiques. We get anything, any positive feedback or any negative conversation, whatever you have say about this review of Kamen Rider Dragon Knight. You know, hopefully you go out and watch it for yourself, find it wherever you can, and watch the series, and hopefully you enjoy it just like we did.
Yeah, guys. I think last and Jerron, you want to get your closing statements because I'm gonna say one my thing and end it. But I want you to get. Do you have anything else you want to say, Jerron?
Okay. Before I go, like my final thoughts on Kamen Rider Dragon Knight. It's one of the best shows that I ever seen because sadly we didn't get season 2, but in my opinion, that's one of the best shows that I ever seen. Like the same way that I see Masked Rider back in the day when I was a little kid, but Kamen Rider is different. You know what I'm saying? Like, yeah, Power Rangers vibes. Like I've been watching shows that is like Power Rangers vibes, but Kamen Rider Dragon Knight was one of them. So yes, it was one of the best shows I ever seen because I was introduced Kamen Rider Dragon Knight in an early age. I mean, when I was a teenager, I was introduced Kamen Rider Dragon Knight when I was a teenager. So yeah, awesome show, one of the best. And if I had plans to see it one more time, I would have. If those of y'all who never seen it, check it out. It's awesome. is one of the good shows that I ever watched because I still had love for Power Rangers, to be honest with y'all, and other shows that have Power Ranger vibes. I love Power Rangers then, and I love Power Rangers now. So, yeah, go check it out. It's fun. It's an awesome show. Action pack, you name it. That's all I'm about to say.
I mean, until I don't know where Jay at right now, but you know, like I said,
We're here.
We're here, Wally. I've been here.
okay, go ahead.
Sorry guys, like I said, I thought you guys were gonna make another extra point, but all in all, guys, that is our overall review of Kamen Rider Dragon Knight, y'all, and also the start of the RBI review. Host, like I said, being hosted by my man Wally, me the co-host Jay, and you guys the viewers. I want to thank Jerome for coming up. Appreciate it, brother. You're an awesome martial arts freaking lover, like our rest of us. That was another thing. I think that propels this probably to 8.8. I would say this is because of the hand-to-hand combat. Like, they got amazing. The cast is amazing. They work what they have, but they put all in effort in there. And facial expression wise, everybody did a really great job. All in all, 8.8 for me. And definitely check this out. And also check out other Kamen Riders. Like I said, I might do the Magician one in Japan. I might do the Magician one. Kamen Rider Magic Knight, I think that's what it was. Jerron, you're muted. You wanted to say something?
No, I'm listening to what you have to say. I wasn't saying anything.
Oh, I thought you wanted to say something. But all in all, guys, like I said, I want you to look forward to the Kingdom Hearts stream we're going to do tomorrow night with me and my boy Slick Ryuga. We're gonna do this is gonna be a long stream.
Kingdom Hearts. Oh shit!
We'll probably be going to 11:30 on that one. That's why I'm starting it at 8, 9, 10. Try to get 3 hours in. We got to go over so much. But also, don't worry, people will be allowed to come on. But I think for the first hour it'll be me and Ryuga. We're gonna be talking about a lot of stuff, and then we're gonna let people on and also talk about their experience with the series. And did you complete it all? Because it took us forever to fix this shit and to freaking get all this done right. But also, but like I said, we're going to be going to talk about the magic items, we're talking about the summons, all that freaking shit. I'm talking about, when I say covering everything, I mean covering everything, dude. This is going to be longer than the Kamen Rider Dragon Knight shit and other series that I've ever talked about, because it actually has convoluted games to make it what the hell it is. That story is convoluted as hell, but I love the shit out of it. All in all, like I said, be on the lookout for that stream tomorrow. Like I said, be on the lookout for more reviews like this with Wally on every 2 weeks. Wally, well, not every 2 weeks, but it's like every rotation on a Thursday. He'll be doing a review here. And like I said, he's gonna be running it the way he wants, and I'm gonna be co-host as always. And like I said, next week Marcus will be doing his stream while he gets his break. He'll plan for what he has next. And so, you know, like I said, it just...
I could have been planned it, but I guess things change.
I mean, you can plan it, bro. You have a whole week off. The days left here.
Yeah, but I mean, whatever. Yeah,
bro, you got plenty of time. So you chill right now.
No, literally, I literally got almost already 4 weeks worth of the whole thing. That's why I said, like, at least let me get like the whole month in. But
No. I mean, like, when you do your next one, yeah, man, you already got like I'm saying, like, if you already have them lined up, you have them lined up, which means I'll put them up early. But all in all, guys, like I said, thank you for tuning in tonight, y'all. Y'all been an amazing viewer. Y'all been an amazing cast, amazing views.
Viewers in this case.
And y'all have a great night. Take a nice shower, eat some cookies, and I wouldn't say cookies literally, but make sure they chocolate chip and have a nice cup of tea before you go to sleep. Like I said, it always soothes the freaking throat and the soul. Like I said, yin and yang, if you're with me. But all in all, this has been your boy Jay Takashi, my man Wally WTP, my man Jerron Patterson, and JVJ. I know you came back a little late, bro, but hey, it is what it is. Peace, good night, and you have a nice sleep.